Everybody, good evening. Good afternoon, good evening. Demo General, good to see you, sir. Got Goose in the house, Svenmore, all the way from Iceland. Will, good to see you. So we've got it confirmed. We're going to do an all-access member in-person event in June 18th, 19th, right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hopefully sunny Knoxville, Tennessee. I was going to say right here in sunny Knoxville. Hopefully it'll be sunny. And I got something special in store for everybody on Thursday. I'm trying to work it out, but I think it's going to be really special. It's on top, above and beyond what any other guru would do for you, I'm pretty sure. So pretty excited about it. Just throwing the teaser out there. I'm sure somebody will leak it before we get there, but yeah, big plans and ambitions in store. So welcome everybody. A little bit stormy out there in the market. Today we had a little bit of relief rally. We're gonna talk about it. NVDA earnings coming up. Is that tomorrow? I think it is. Today Tuesday. Tomorrow Wednesday. And then we have extreme levels of puts being played in the market, which usually means that we're not going lower. Everybody's like, warning, warning, watch out, the put players really ramping it up. We're about to take a big flush. But people buy puts at exactly the wrong time. And with extreme put buying, that usually means we're going higher. So I guess before we talk about anything specific, though, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Be careful out there. You can lose money doing this thing we do called trading. If you're brand new, let me know in the chat. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the button over here. Be a member. Be a subscriber on the channel. You can chat. If you want to be a member, you can come to the Ask Me Anything that we do at the wrap up here. So at the end of the show, we'll do, basically, I'll talk about a few things and we'll do 30 minutes of request at least. Usually we wrap that up at 6 o'clock Eastern time. And I kick it over to an Ask Me Anything for channel members. And most of the time they're just wanting to know more about more tickers. So, there is like occasionally a question, what do I think about X, Y, or Z? I'm not going to give you any trading advice though, so be careful there. But if you want to come to the Ask Me Anything at the end of the show, make sure that you are a channel member. Click the button underneath the video. Be a channel member. It's relatively cheap. It's not very expensive. It does help me do this YouTube content. It's just me doing the YouTube content, me and my family. We do it outside of the company umbrella. So anyway, be careful out there. You could lose money. So NVIDIA earnings coming up this week. Yeah, be prepared, right? Right there, NVIDIA. Jump up to the daily chart. Yeah, there's that earnings coming up on, Wednesday after the close. That's what I thought. So right now we have a bullish setup on NVIDIA. It would not surprise me to pop right up here. We could possibly do that tomorrow. And then we get the earnings. And maybe, it's possibly we'll pop up here tomorrow. Possibly we pop up there on earnings. And then we retest support at this orange roadmap line. If you don't have the roadmap line, it's the video pinned to the channel. Gives you the code for free. But if you don't want to, mess with code, $5. $5 is what I charge. And you get a weekly watch list and stuff like that. So there it is. That's support. And if we get below that support, 150 is probably where we're going to retest. Why 150? Because that's where we topped out back here last year. And that's where we broke out from last summer. And we haven't been back to retest it. So if we get below this support right here on a pop and drop, this is where I expect to find support. So first support, second support. And if we let go of that one, probably coming down to 120 area. Right there. I'm not trading for it. That's just the support areas. Now, if we go popping and we go ripping right on through, cruise right on through this. The upside potential is sitting right up here at 220. That next fib line up there, 220. And then above that is 227. And don't really expect to go much above that without some sort of pullback and retest of this 213 area. We would pop up, probably pull back, and then we could possibly cruise on up there to 245. But you were talking weeks at the current enthusiasm level of the NVIDIA charts. This could probably, I wouldn't expect it to happen fast. I mean, if we do that, it probably looks something like that. We'd be out here May, June, so it's probably not just going to be like, boom, we're there. And we've already had one earnings in here while we're just chopping. This will be the second earnings in here. And really, we've had that earnings too was still in this same choppy vicinity. So we basically spent 7 months sitting here and just chopping on NVIDIA. Biggest dog in the land right now. And caution. They miss it all, or they hiccup, or they don't please the crowd with aggressive expansion of customer base, which is hard to do when you're the biggest company in the world. Like you're not going to grow at 100% or, year over year. There's just not, you're at the top. There's nowhere to expand to. You own all the kingdom. You own all the land. You have all the customers. It's hard to keep expanding. So any little hiccup could cause this to take a swift decline back to that support and that support. I'm not really playing it per se at this point. Now, what's the expected move? We can pull up an option chain and look at that really quickly. Jump out to, we have to go out to this Friday, which is the 27th. They don't have options. Now, even though NVIDIA now has 3 times a week options, one of the caveats for the new 3 times a week options is that when there is an earnings day, they will not have an options expiration on earnings day. That was one of the new caveats as far as if we put out these options and they are 3 times a week, when we have an earnings day, it will not have an expiration on earnings day. Interesting, I guess. So we don't have one Wednesday, but we have one Friday. You come in here, you sell both sides. Relatively benign $11.70 move up and down is what the market's pricing in by Friday this week. That's what the market makers are pricing in so that they don't lose money if somebody comes in here and buys or sells options. Now, this is interesting because there is a large skew on the put side. Very large skew on the put side. I find that to be very interesting. It's very unbalanced. And, we stopped trading at 192.89, so it's 192.50, pretty close to at the money, but we're seeing $4.80 on one side and $6.85 on the put side. So it's definitely, puts are hyped up, and that falls into topic number 2 I was talking about is there's extreme levels of puts being played in the market right now. Pretty extreme. And for years I've kind of said this, is that when the market tilts to puts, tilts heavily into the puts, we typically go the other way. When the market zigs, when the players are zigging, the market tends to zag, if you would. Now, we ended up with a high call gamma by the end of the day today and bleeding off. And this is just cues. The SPY right here, we also saw a similar sort of loading up on calls. So this whole environment could change on a dime. It doesn't have to stay bullish, but we saw lots of puts being played out for the end of the month, which is Friday. And we ended up with a $2.6 billion gamma level right there. And it was, actually a lot of calls being played. It's kind of where we pinned into the close. We screwed, all those call buyers that were trying to make money on it popping through, kind of getting screwed a little bit, and its price just stayed right there. And looking out to the end of the month, end of the week, got a big level sitting there, 900 million. It's almost $1 billion up there at 690. Could be on a path to go visit that. We have a 300 million level, 420 million level, $280 million level. So the big level right now, setting out to Friday on SPY, is up here at 690. A little bit above us, and we could drift that on up higher into the end of the week. We may pop up there early and pull back. We see that happen often too. So it's not necessarily given that we're going to pin there. We may go visit it and then go on some other direction. Since that's above price, that's probably mostly calls. Even though it says put, negative gamma up there, it's probably a lot of calls. And how do you screw calls? Well, you go down. So market loves to take the money from the buyers. And we have individual stocks that we could look at, but the gamma on individual stocks just doesn't tend to be that crazy. Tesla is the biggest traded stock, and the levels are like 20 million, but just not crazy. And you can come in here and look, the trending calls today, Tesla down here, silver was in SLV in here, MU, NVDA in here, and we can look at NVIDIA and check it out. But there's not going to be very big levels, even though it has earnings coming up. 100 million out to March. But right here, this Friday, it's just kind of devoid. Like there's barely any options played. It's just kind of crazy. But you look at the levels, there's see a lot of call players in here above, right above 190, and then you see put players below 190. Kind of makes sense since we're sitting at 190. So we may not, like I talked about, we may pop up to that 197.50 and then reject off of that big call level right there. So it may pop up there and reject. There is definitely a skew to the calls, even though the prices are skewed on the puts. It's kind of interesting. So, yeah, that's trying to read the tea leaves of the market, see what it's planned out. So, upside move, downside move, 1172. So basically, we're looking for the market makers are pricing in a move up to about 205 and down roughly 1172 right there, down about 180 ish. So the market makers have the options priced so that that kind of move is covered, that range. And that's just out to Friday, which is just a couple days away. Once we're past that, this works for all expirations. Like, you want to know what it is for next Monday, you just come in and do the same sort of thing. You got to clear it off, not add them together. $12. So really just another, what was that, 50, 70, another 70, 80 cents more move priced out to Monday than we have priced out to this Friday. So most of the move is priced into the earnings and not spilling into next week. Hopefully that was beneficial on that. And usually we hit a few market highlights here. At the morning show wrap, even though it glitched out on me, the broadcast software crashed, I outlined this red zone we probably stay in. We stayed in the upper half of it. Nice, but we're still lower high and higher low. Just in this range. And then QQQ, same sort of thing. We stayed in the upper half of the range. Not too bad. Not too bad. Kind of a bullish day, but not a breakout day. Look at the S&P over, futures here. We're just in a sideways consolidation. This can easily lead to a pop, but it also could break down and lead to a drop. Not clear. Doing this kind of thing is not clear. This does kind of look like a three-wave complete. And with the lower high here today, a start of a bigger down. So this is one to watch right in this zone. If we can get above the 69.40 area, if we get through 69.20 into up above 69.40, probably tilting the odds we're going up back up to 7,000. If we start back down through 68.40, probably going to come down here lower low than we were at earlier back in February, a couple weeks ago. So I'm probably going to revisit, down in the 6,700s. That's the way it looks on ES and the S&P 500. Nasdaq has been kind of bearish, and this resistance here definitely makes it look like we are just one sneeze away from taking a rip down, making a lower low right there. And we could go cruising on down to like 2,200 on Nasdaq. Now, looking at the daily chart, we're already sitting on the daily roadmap line, and that's one reason why we've had such support right in here on Nasdaq. We've just been riding this daily roadmap line, not pushing through it at all. But the S&P, interestingly enough, we're not anywhere close. We may actually see a bigger downside on the S&P down to the 6,700. And we've just kind of been sitting here riding the bottom of the 4-hour. So there's not really anything. It's just kind of clear air between where we are and the daily roadmap line, because the 4-hour is sitting above price right here. So 4-hour resistance above us, and that leaves a wide open for a drop right down in here. But you got all those put players, so it's like at a quandary. We'll probably float and hang through Friday, and then if we're going to drop, they'll probably drop in March right there. And funny enough, that's seasonality wise. Let's see if I can pull up the seasonality chart on Discord. Seasonality wise, that actually fits exactly what you might expect to see. Golly. And right here, volatility, seasonality of volatility. Pull this over. See, we usually get a little bit of freak out coming into the end of February, the last couple of days, and then we get some continuation of that into mid-March. So this could be what we see. This is averaged over 20 years. Yeah, COVID's in there, but you average COVID against all the other 20 years, March tends to be the most volatile month of the year. We get a little bit of volatility over here in October too. So March and October. Summer tends to be pretty chill. So they always say sell in May and go away. It's because everything's kind of chill and volatility for the summer. Ramps back up into the fall. Chilled out for the beginning of the year. So I would expect some more volatility. We may or may not pop and drop here. All right. So what am I calling for NVIDIA tomorrow? I'm not playing it. I don't feel like it's clear enough, but if my pattern plays out, it's a bullish pattern. Like that's the target right there. I just don't know if it happens before earnings or after earnings that we hit that area right there between 97.50 and 200. Thing is, if it happens during the earnings call, you won't be able to close any earnings, and we may hit it and drop. So that'd be the sucky thing. Happened to me several times on Apple in the past, where I had options sitting there waiting for the target. It popped up, hit the target in the after hours, and then dropped out. So, all right. Enough all that. Let's go ahead and do the main event. Let's do your requests. Just take your requests for the next 40 minutes or so before we switch over to Ask Me Anything. So, rules of the game. Capital letters. Give me the full ticker. I just need the ticker. Any question you have with it, please use a complete sentence. Don't avoid using this, that, these, those, references that I, when I'm sitting here looking at hundreds of charts, like, thanks for that. I have no idea what that is. Thanks for, you know, whatever you give me. I appreciate it. So that's what we got. One ticker request per person, per ticker. You let, you know, 2, 3, 4 other people go before you request again. And if you're a channel member, try to chill out on people until we do the Ask Me Anything. So if you're just abusing the system, I'll probably start skipping you. All right. So there we go. I see Akamai. And I'm just going to do high-level analysis on most of these. If you want a more in-depth thing, well, that's what people pay me for. So remember to be a channel member, and you can come to the Ask Me Anything, and we can go more in-depth than anything. So Akamai right here, this is a lower high. It's a downtrend, another lower high. I'd be cautious. It does have the setup to potentially come up here to 141. But at the same time, we're just kind of grinding sideways. A lot of sideways in this chart. I'm not, you know, lower low there. So this really needs to keep showing enthusiasm to go higher right up here. And even if it does, we may end up right back down here again. That one's, as far as cloud computing stuff goes, it's just not awesome. USAR, another choppy chart, lower highs, bouncing off the roadmap line. This looks more like, you know, kind of bubbles, but we have resistance here. Get above that resistance, we might be able to push it up to 34. If we reject off the resistance, watch out for coming on down. You know, so far we're holding the roadmap line at resistance around 20. But if we don't hold on to that, probably come back to these lows around 12. And if we get below that, well, SPAC price down here around 10. That tends to be where these volatile suckers chill out at their SPAC price. And on to, I have no exposure to NVIDIA right now. Just throwing that out there. So it's kind of a cap or a ceiling right now for the last 2 years. If we can actually break through, 275 would be the upside target here. It did signal that we were going up there back in December, and it's just been chugging on its way up there. So 275, 314, possibly 446 if things get really spicy. And it may do, like I was talking about before, we may do that before we get up there. And next up, STM. Another choppy one. We're into this resistance, this gap down resistance. So we've got to move up, a retrace, and another move up. And if we just fill the gap here, that is a bearish pattern. Trend was down. 3-wave retrace, absolutely beautiful correction. Proportions would stop right there at the gap fill, and continuation would be lower. Trend, pullback, continuation. How far down would it go? Maybe down to 12. Right there. Pretty nasty. Not sure I'd be messing with that chart. PL. Planet Labs. It's got a nice rip, pullback, rip, pullback, rip kind of situation going on. And so we got, we may go a little bit lower on this pullback if we're going to match the prior one. These don't seem to be extremely consistent because that was a bigger one, little baby one, a little bit bigger one, maybe a little bit bigger one. We'll see what happens. Now, the upside has been fairly consistent, though. And look at that. That move up, chill out. That move up, pull back. That move up, pull back. So whenever we start up again, probably going to move about that same size. That's an echo in the market. We'll probably do that maybe up to like 46 area right there. Hey, next up, Shopify. Still getting beat up on tariffs, I guess. Oh, where did my mouse go? What the nuts just happened? Hopefully everything didn't just crash. That's not good. There it goes. That was weird. Everything paused. Had a crash this morning and lost the stream. So if we just pull back the same size pullback we did right there, basically right there, similar in size, that would mean we have a little more downside, probably around 100, and then upside, probably takes up around 200, 220, maybe a little higher. This real systematic. Now it could stop, this could be the bottom already in place. It just has the potential to dip a little bit lower. If we get above the roadmap line, that'd be the indication that we're going to go on higher. Just like we did right there, just like we did right here, and just like we did right here. So popping up above that roadmap line, back testing might set us for the upside. Target would be up here around 230 probably. And BG, that was cool. Chat started rolling and then it jumped all the way to the bottom. BG. Got this, move down. Retrace, move down. So this could potentially be complete. Choppy start to move up. That high, that low. Probably find some resistance right up in this zone. Right around there. For BG. MSTR is going the way. It's not going to move independently from crypto. It's deeply intertwined with crypto. Looks a lot like Bitcoin's choppy bounce off the lows with a bleed off here. So jumping over and looking at the Bitcoin charts, you can see we kind of trying to find some support here today. Barely hanging on. We had this little triangle thing. This could be a fake break down, and we actually pop the other way. If we do pop the other way, MSTR probably going to see some upside. Now, I kind of would expect this to be done on the downside for MSTR. We hit the first move down, retrace. This is the trend pullback continuation of the bigger uptrend. This would be an A, B, C correction, and continuation would be higher. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't fart around in here for a while before we actually do go higher. That roadmap line coming down is going to be resistance. Right now it's up around 220, could be down around 200 by the time we come up here and meet it. Or we could go on lower and it'd be on down here like 160 before we come up and meet it. Time will tell. It's a downtrend. We're below the daily roadmap line. We're at support, but that support can let go and we can go visit a lower support down around 60. So I would expect us to hang out in this vicinity. But if we let go of the rope here, down around 66, that 60 area could be the next downside where we step down to. We messed around on this first level. I thought we were going to hold there, but then we quickly went down to the next level. Could be the same situation. We bounce around in here and then quickly take another step down to the next fib level down there on MSTR. Intuit has been looking pretty bad. Still no bottom in sight. What do they got that AI can't do better? We are at this support. And if we let go, Another level down here. Zooming out, bigger picture. It was a heck of a run, right? That was basically 5 up. So, and if you can hear I'm shoveling gravel outside my window, I do apologize. So that was basically a big giant 5 up. Potentially complete. Yeah, this, man, if indeed we do retrace this, it could come back into this 60 to 100 area. Right back in here. It'd be pretty bad. And why'd I pick this low and that high? It's because this all looked like it was part of one move off the lows. This looked like a consolidation. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 complete. A retrace of that would put us back in this vicinity right here. Could stay higher. It's possible. But the way this is coming down pretty steep, we may come down, retest that low, bounce, and then continue the decline down in here. And that's what I would probably not touch into it for all those reasons. All right, let me go ahead and set up the members only stream. Should switch over automatically when we get there. It'll be 30 minutes from now. Blue Owl Capital. That's probably a crap show right here. Getting whacked, punch in the face. Yeah, it's all kind of started back here though, like back early in 25, and it's ramping up now. They're heavily into underwriting loans to, lending money to software companies, and guess what? That whole business model called into question here, and I think it's spilling over into some other markets like Bitcoin. It's kind of the unsaid down pressure in crypto is these capital markets. We're at a point where we might find the low again. There was the IPO. Right now, that's our lowest low. Nice 5 wave up. 1, 2, 3. Retrace. But we're going a little deep is the problem here. Pushing the limits. If we don't hold on to this right here, maybe setting us up for a lower low right down here around 7. So we need to hold on to 10. If we don't hold on to 10, highly likely we're going to come back to visit the bottom. And if that bottom doesn't hold down around 826, probably going on down to 7. Ouch. Yeah, I wouldn't catch it. I wouldn't touch it right now. It's kind of a falling knife situation. So EWY, that's Korea. KRU was the number 1. I talked about this one this morning, and I've talked about it for a while. It activated the entry right back here. Here was the target. Going on, cruising up higher. 150 is the next upside. And GE. So it didn't actually hit the daily. Bounced off the 4-hour. There was the high. There was the low. We're at the target. 358 would be the next upside. I would be on a watch though. Last time we got up there, we retraced promptly. Get up here again, it retraced promptly. Wix. I guess selling websites is going well. Golly, man. Whew. Imagine you bought that at 250 last year. Now it's down at 65. Just round trip that whole gain. That whole choppy move up there. It just round trip the entire thing. So this is very overlapping. Move up. Looks like a leading diagonal of some sort. And this looked like a big retrace. Deep retrace. Going back up to the daily charts. This thing might be setting up for a lower low. Got the high right there. We got the low right here. We got this lower high right here. And we might be setting up for a visit of this area right down here. That's what it looks like to me. TMC, the metals company. Back to the SPAC price would be what I expect. Seeings have a habit of kind of hanging out with the SPAC price. Moving on, moving on. PMI. Badger Meter Incorporated. Back into this consolidation. Have to zoom up. It's been a heck of a tear. This could go on a massive retrace. It extended. It basically looks like it extended the fifth wave. The 1618 extension of the wave 1. To me, this looks like wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and it extended 5. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The unfortunate part here is it can retrace all the way back down in this zone right here. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me to see this retrace back down in here. Could hold up in this vicinity of this 4, right in here. Yeah, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. And fairly proportional between the 1 and the 5 on that. Coming back and finding support here would be good if we're going to go higher, but if we don't hold that, we may come down here before we go higher. If we're going higher. That's what that looks like right there. BMI. IBIT. What do you want to know? I cover Bitcoin in the mornings, and this is just the Bitcoin chart, but with less candles. So it's the Bitcoin chart with less candles, and I pretty much in depth cover that every morning, what I expect. KLAR. Catching a falling knife on that one. Watch out below. WFG. Looking for this to hold in support right here and get a bounce. If we don't hold there, oops, don't hold in there. Lower low. It's a downtrend, pullback, continuation. Right there. And just in case you haven't seen, let me see if the Bitcoin chart is still up. Oh, it unloaded everything. Cool. It's my favorite. I did reboot the computer earlier to try to alleviate some of the crap, if you will. Let's see. Yeah, here's the Bitcoin chart. This is for the IBIT request. Here you go. This is long-term Bitcoin. Probably get a rally up into the 90 to 100 area into May, June, and a drop out to the 30 to 50 zone. And if you wonder, you know, when I drew this, it was at 78. Now we're down at 63. So it did take a little bit more spill here. That lowers this area just a little bit, but basically the same 90 to 100 area. And this is still the same 30 to 50 for the bottom. That's probably out there somewhere in October. So you can just take your little measuring device, measure from where we are up here to about wherever you think we're going to top, 80, 90. That's the upside. And down 50%. If we're at 63 right now, I think it is. So where we were this morning, this afternoon, 64. So that's still like a 50% haircut to get down to 30. If we go down to 50, it's not nearly as big a downside. But you just take that and apply it, that percentage-wise. If we stop at 50, it's 22% downside. So you just take that on IBIT, that's the downside. Take that on IBIT, come up here, that's the upside. That's how it works. I sold 35 50s today for Wednesday. Tomorrow, we'll see how that works out for IBIT. Full disclosure, I do trade IBIT pretty often. And WFG. Banging rocks outside. I did that one already, I think. Docu broke the bullish pattern. Bummer. So it looked like we had a bullish pattern. Now we're coming back to retest the lows. Let's see if we can hold on to it. If we don't hold on to it, probably taking a new step down. And that makes that a three-way. It makes the trend 1, 2, 3 ABC pullback continuation. If we can't hold on to these lows, continuing down, 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 down. There's the low. There's the high. Support down around 30 would be the next level down here. Right in here. As the expected drop. So same as going higher, it's just upside down. That's the trend. That's the pullback into the roadmap line. That was probably a weekly roadmap line. Yep, weekly roadmap line, three-wave up into it. Continuation down at 30. That'd be a new all-time low. Looks like a bubble chart that popped, and we're working on. So if we can hold this low, that'd be long-term bullish. But if we don't hold it, then we'll have to build something bullish from over here to really get some upside. That's Docu in a nutshell. TUR. Three-wave pullback. ABC. Didn't quite reach it though. So we have resistance at the prior high. Can always go down. That's only 1, 2, 3 up again. Got that low, got that move, got that move. And it's still in a questionable point where can it be bullish or is it going to be bearish? If we do go on to the highs, got resistance up here at 47, 49, 57. 47, 50, and 57 right in there. We may come on up and hit like that, and then retrace. And CEG, Constellation Energy Group. Potentially we're done on the downside, but we'll need to break through the 618 resistance. Right up here around 337 to set up the 445 target. That would be, if I was going to trade this, that'd be what I would be watching, was a move up through this area right here. We can get a daily close above that 337. Right in here. Push back up in there. 440 target. AMD. So this could be the bottom, but the way this 1, 2, 3, 4 looks like it has one more down in it in store. And this would be an A, a B, and a C right there. And then downside could take us down just a little bit lower. There. Blows people's minds when I draw stuff like this. That I was calling for a correction that came back and hit the roadmap line, but the nature of this drop right here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like we're gonna climb just a little bit more, probably make a higher high than that, and then take one more spill right down in here, and then we set the stage to go higher again. Now that move back here, this possible move, you know, this high back here, this low back here, potentially if we hit it, sets us up for another move higher, potentially up in here. 284, 299, 346. And then bigger picture, this also sets up the upside potential 305, 443. So this will be a target here and then a target up here. Rally up, retrace, move on up, something like that. If we're going to get there. It could just stall at 305. So 300 to 400 would be the expectation after we get this lower low. Doesn't have to do a lower low, but just looks like what's going to happen. It's not a huge lower low, but I may, if we do get that drop, I may pick up some AMDU, I think it is. AMDU. No, leverage AMD. That's not the right one. There it is. AMUU. That's it. AMUU. So if we get that lower low on AMD chart, I may pick up some AMUU shares because the upside potential here is pretty nice. I mean, if you think about it right here, if we tag down in here 182-ish and we go ripping back up to 300-ish, it's a 66% upside. AMUU, 2x leverage. So we've been talking about a dip right down in here, like 37, and then like 130% upside, 120% upside. Be a pretty big, yeah, that'd be a pretty good move going from a 37 up to 81. Now, if you look at it, you're like, oh man, that's not like higher high or anything. Yeah, that's the way leverage works. The pullbacks eat the thing alive. These rips are great, but the pullbacks can be detrimental. So just remember, a 10% pullback is a 2x leverage is 20%. It takes a bigger gain to recover from a loss, and if we get a 50% pullback, that's 100% on a 2x leverage. So significant risk of loss involved in all trading. GM looks like we've kind of run out of steam, and we're going to take a dip back to the roadmap line. HIMS is the chart to look at, not HIMZ, and that don't. I can't say with any certainty we bottomed out, so this can take another spill in leverage charts. Yikes. And that went from 56. So the risks of trading 2x leverage, that was 80%. Yet HIMZ is not out of business yet. They may reverse split though, and it'll make it 10 times harder for it to come back up and recover. Be careful on HIMZ, ET. Man, they're getting after the rocks outside my window. And here's the low, here's the high, here's the low. Potential to come up and find resistance at the prior high. Right there. So it's a sharp drop. Potential A, B, C. For a potential B, and then continuation lower for a C. That's what I see, potentially play down on energy transfer. So we may see some choppy right there. And it's not really been able to get through this 20 area for a long time. We may see it do another retrace here. Now, if we could poke up through that, get up to 24, we may still see it pull back in a bigger retrace. So this may pop up here. We still see it pull back like this to 14, 15 before we can go higher again. That's the long and the short of it. CRGY. Crescent Energy does not look like a company I want to get involved in. It's a downtrend. That's the lowest low. Price action off of that. Very overlappy and just looks like an EKG. Continuation would be lower. Not great. VNAI. Well, they did a reverse split, so that's a dumpster fire. That's I would not touch that. So this right here, this reverse split, tells you that the people managing this company are bad at managing a stock price. And for whatever reason, the people trading think that all of a sudden this split was super bullish for, you know, the stock. All of a sudden it made a big jump, and people are idiots. But reverse splits cause excitement. The excitement is going to wear off and come back down more than likely because this company is bad at managing their stock price. Be careful. Good, healthy companies don't ever reverse split. Great opportunities in the market don't ever reverse split. Period. End of story. It's not that there won't be some that are, you know, reverse split recovery stories, but I don't even pull anything up on this. ATCX, I don't see anything. I don't know what that is. All right. HERZ. Yeah, I don't know why you're messing with that one either. Another reverse split, dumpster fire, piece of garbage. Wouldn't touch it with your money, even if you gave it all to me. FET. This has a dumpster fire hiding in there. Another dumpster fire. Piece of garbage. I just wouldn't touch it. Move up, retrace. Potential to come up to 129 and then still end up going back down in the garbage. That's kind of the way these work. Oracle. It's funny. 3 back to back to back. Reverse splits. Oracle has support right here. If we get below that, it's going to be ugly. We can bounce there. Possible to come back up and start filling some of these gaps. But we left some gaps on the way down. It's pretty gnarly. Pretty gnarly. So looking for Oracle to hold that prior low from Liberation Day last year. How are they going to pay for everything? That's the big question. If we get below that low, probably coming down to this low, which is a long way down. So we got potential support here, and then yikes. Big haircut on Oracle. I got low confidence that has a bottom in place. IBM. That went ripping pretty good off of this 2020 low, COVID low. Made it move up. Nice retrace. Next move up. Looks like we're doing some sort of consolidation here. And potential for another move up. Yeah, let's see if I can put some fibs to it. Just a little bit. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Kind of nasty on that last move there. So we may find support right in 2, 3. May find support any day now, right in where we are. And then we were from 229 down to 190. We could hold on to that. See, we give for a bounce. Now it could bounce it, could bounce where it is, but that's what I would see. And then as far as extension goes, probably 350 to 375 area. Where would we top out next? So we're looking for this to maybe pull back a little bit more and then run on up in here as the target. And then watch out, because that can kick off another bigger retrace back down in the same 200 area. HRL, of course, new price action makes it more clear. That's kind of not so clear. Move up, 3-wave retrace, move up. Unclear. Low, high, low, and gap down resistance. It's a regular split. That's looking pretty rough on that one. 4 mil. Yeah, bigger picture. This could. We could actually see this thing come on down to this $10 area. Before we're able to bounce and recover. Man, that's pretty nasty. Like there's basically nothing like over here. Like once we got below that low, kind of opens the door to coming back down into this area down here. Could last another couple years too. 4 mil for you. CGDV. Golf Delta Victor. Yeah, so I'm a trend pullback continuation trader. There's no. It's just trending. We can keep on the path, but I got nothing to really tell you. Watch out for a retrace. There's could just repeat the last big up it did. And we'd be nearing the end of that. And a big up. Big up. Could embark on another pullback. That'd be the warning. And here in about 2 minutes, I guess 2.5 minutes, we're going to switch over to members only stream. I'm going to hit as many of the rest of these as I can. Microsoft is on the morning show. HWM. And nothing changed from not finding a bottom. HWM. Crazy pop. Watch out. If you want to switch over to Ask Me Anything show with us, make sure you're a channel member. Name's in green with a little star. Hopefully it'll all switch over nice and smooth like it should. SWBI. Long term, I'm bullish on this. Own shares. But the chart is having a heck of a time getting off of this. Getting going here. So we have a move up. 5 up. Retrace. 5 up. Been working on this retrace. We're at the 618. And the potential upside here is pretty bananas. We could be talking a move from this $11 area up in here and possibly super bullish up here. We may see it ping pong like that. So my kind of primary targets right in here. And we'll see what happens. See what happens. MMS. I'll keep going down the list and hit the rest of these in the members only stream. So if you decide to join us, then all the rest of the quest will be in the members only stream. MMS is just a big sideways choppy hot mess of not going anywhere. Stock at rest tends to stay at rest, and that's tends to be what that looks like it's going to do. Chop around in here for the foreseeable future. And TSLA is just Tesla chart, amplified 2x. Potential holding on to the roadmap line. We can bounce upside 515, 530. Be roughly a 30% upside here, which is roughly a 60% upside for TSLA. And Amazon, I cover in the mornings. Potential bounce. Microsoft, I cover in the mornings. No bottom in sight yet. And NVTS, sitting on the roadmap line. Can't seem to get off of it. And if we break down, 1, 2, 3, could be down here at $4. Navitas. I don't know why everybody's hyped up on that one right now, but SLJ? And